how we're going to do this is that we're going to pass around the talking stick. Now, if you want to say something, you'll come up here to be able to speak out so everybody can hear you and tell a story or a feeling, anything about Kenne. And then, if you brought a candle, pick yours. If you didn't, pick one of the tea light ones, and then go and actually put it in either on the altar or in the sand there and light it, and then come over and pass it to the next person. And they have the choice of either sitting and doing a silent prayer and then lighting their candle, or coming up here and saying something and then passing it on. That way everybody has the option of speaking if they want or not, and everybody has the opportunity to go up and give a goodbye, light a candle to Kenne and help his spirit. So with that, I'm going to bring up Barry. I think we're going to start with Barry and then Sandra. So I'll pass the stick to you. So everybody should somewhat form a circle so that we can pass it. People will know who gets it next. Some form. There's some seats here I can get.
I want to just do some logistics for you, because I kind of said everything that I really have to say on the DVD. So I urge you to check out the DVD. It has Jody's fine music in it. Thank you very much. And it has my first draft of the eulogy that I gave in Portland. Not as good as the eulogy I gave in Portland, but it at least gives you the content. We're videoing this. The purpose of it is that the video will go to Portland. Harry and Eileen Zugman are Ken's mom and dad. Harry turned 92 in May. Eileen turned 94 last week. And we had her birthday celebration a day before Kenne's memorial. They are the most inspirational couple that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. They are completely devoted to one another. Eileen at 94 just had a kidney removed and fought cancer on the other kidney. Wow. And Harry is blind. And during Eileen's chemo, she was too weak to walk, and so Harry would wheel her in a chair and she would direct him.
Cool.
Eileen has given me a lot of courage. She said, "I loved my son very much, and no mother should lose a son. And he will always be in my memory and my heart. And we have to move on with our lives." 94.
Wow. Well, yeah, she's learned a lot.
And if that doesn't give you courage, I don't know what will.
Thank you.
10 days before Ken died, he married Sandra Garcia Puente. Now, Zugman. Sandra took care of Ken and gave him the opportunity to lead this life of ours in such a loving and special space that I am thrilled to pass the stick to her.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me here. This is such a great opportunity for me to tell you what this community meant to Ken. He was ready to come back here, to die here, to live his last days in this place where he loved so much, and he knew that this place was the chosen one for him to live this other kind of life that he's living right now. And so his parents, Harry and Eileen, as you heard, they are very strong people. They have given me the courage to go on with my life, and I thank them because they've been so warm with me. They've been so kind and loving, and I think they're happy now that they know that Ken's ashes are here and in the place that he loves so much. I understand why. I understand because of the landscape I just saw, because of the people he was surrounded with, and the way that I took care of Ken has no merit, because it was just love that I felt for him, and I was very, very happy to be able to serve him, to be with him, to love him every day, and to take care of him. I mean, that was just so natural, and I thank you, all of you, for being with me too, and I would like for John to come by, as he was our minister the day we got married. I say, or in my spiritual tradition, we say that the day that people pass away is the day that they have their mystical wedding with God. So for me, that was really meaningful, the fact that he and I got together in front of God and in front of John.
Well, I have good company.
The best.
God is really happy.
My favorite story of Ken is a story he told me of himself. It's not one that I shared the direct experience. And when I thought about it more, it seems to me like he shared with me the first truly American Buddhist mantra. Are you interested?
Yeah, very.
It's on the DVD.
It's on the DVD too, so, but it's still my favorite story, Barry, nonetheless, so I'm going to tell it.
Please.
He was in this process of dying. This was, he knew that it was time to really reach inside and ask himself what he was really about. And he was taking a shower and he's asking this question, and the words kept coming for him. As you know him, you'll know these words are true. The words were compassion, kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. That's what Ken was about. And you also know Ken, you know he's got a great sense of humor, and he likes to play with words. So he kept seeing these words over and over again, forming in different orders. And like an anagram with the first letters, they finally formed forgiveness, understanding, compassion, and kindness. And he realized the first letters spelled fuck. And he thought it was greatly funny. He was sudsing himself up and he couldn't stop laughing. The water's rushing over him and he's saying, yeah, isn't that interesting how when we're at our most, the word actually spells out forgiveness, understanding, compassion, and kindness.
Wow.
So he enjoyed that for a while. And then he realized the mantra wasn't quite complete.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was more. He realized that, you know, even as he was purifying, going, you know, more and more into spirit and love, that he'd get riled up by this or that little thing, just like we all do. And he might remember the meaning of forgiveness, understanding, compassion, kindness, but it would take some duration to really get there. So the full mantra was forgiveness, understanding, compassion, kindness in time. Fuck it.
Well done.
You did a better job than Ken did. Gosh.
Yeah.
And you'll listen to it on the tape and you'll go, oh
And
yeah, this is
I'd
good.
like to pass the stick to a great friend of Ken's and a dear friend of mine, Leona.
Ken called me that day, and he said, hey babe, I had to call you and tell you this wonderful experience that I had. And I'm laughing. And he said, the whole time that you've been my teacher, I never knew why it was so funny. But fuck it, it's really funny. And it was like a major breakthrough for us because, you know, during the most heart-wrenching, painful moments that Ken walked with me in my journey and with the people that we worked with, I would laugh. I would say, isn't this funny? He said, no, not particularly. I just think about it. Just keep thinking about it. It'll get funny. Life is very, very funny. Relationships border on the ridiculous. But having children is utterly insane. So thank you for reminding me of that moment. I was so honored to have known Ken, and I guess the greatest gift that he gave me, and for those of you who don't know the beginning depths of our journey, was that Ken was an incredible therapist, and he managed to blend his life experience, his sense of humor, his undiscovered spiritual passion that I poked at him forever into that profession, and I shared those years with him in that I worked at the Giarretto Institute, and Ariel left, but Ariel was married to Ken, and her father was the head of this institute in which I was a therapist. So Hank says to me, my son-in-law is coming to be an intern, and you are to be his therapist. And you have to interview him for this position. And my job was to decide whether people were going to come and be interns. So I met Ken, and I think for those of you that know him, it was such a powerful moment for me because I said to him just what I said to you. What the hell is this interview about? Because I'm the one that's supposed to decide whether you come here or not. I've been doing that for 5 years, and they've trusted me with this position, and now you're supposed to be here, and I'm supposed to be your supervisor. I don't even know you. And he said, well, we'll make it. We'll make it. Because I was terrified that you would come here and act as though you hadn't been told that I'm coming here. And I don't want to be here. And I don't want to be your intern unless it's okay with you. And that stayed with me. And when I thought about Ken, I thought, you know, that's who he was. If you were straight with him, he would be straight with you. And the years that I worked with him, he turned that around to, you know, if I'm straight with you. I'll teach you how to be straight with you. And, so that's how we met, and I suppose each of us here has, 100 stories we could tell. But I also want to recognize and honor my meeting Sandra. Because I had a journey I didn't expect to have. And it was a blessing in my life, and I want to share that with the people that are here to honor him. That I went to Playa because I had never quite made it there. My life was fucked up. But when I finally made it to Playa, it became really clear that I came there to take him home. And it's true that he had a second home in Mexico, but here was his home. And he knew that I could do that, and that I would honor his soul and his soul's desire. So we got on that freaking airplane. I think it took 2 or 3 guys to get him in his wheelchair. It was awesome. The strength that he had at the end to do what he knew he had to do. So we brought him home, and then the day that, and he told everybody in Playa and said, and you better not argue with me, that I was his teacher and his mentor and his spiritual guide. And I claimed it that day, like I've never claimed it before, because that's who I am. And to deny that was not okay with Ken. So we brought him home. It was pretty funny. He was pretty sick, but we did it together. And then the day that he passed over, something told me that's the day to go see Ken. And I spent a couple of hours with him. And later on, then Barry told me that that was the day that he passed over, and I feel honored. And I feel honored to be with all of you. I said to somebody earlier, I was never on this land because I never did what the people here did. I was the mother of all the people. So it's kind of like it's good to be here in the same place, if that makes any sense. So thank you. Thank you for listening to my story and for my farewell to a really good student, a really good friend, and a really good soul. Thank you. Now I get to give this to somebody?
Well, or they could step forward. I think Bob is going to have to go, so he's
okay.
When you have to leave.
I'm Bob.
Okay. I want to make sure I do what's here.
So people can just step forward. I like that.
Yeah, so for the purposes of this presentation, I am Bob Woodstock Nation.
Woodstock.
And that's a name that Kenny, that's a name Kenny called me for 32 years. We met in the Backlands in '74, and we stayed real good friends during the land period. There were days at a time that we couldn't make it out of the barn for many different reasons. We'd go to do a project, or we'd meet somebody on the way, and maybe we'd get to the barn, and many of you know what would then happen there. From that time on, Kenny and I took an adventure together to Hawaii, and we're travelers over there. And some of you know Jody Landenberger. We've joined with Jody, who wanted to be represented here today, and sailed on her boat around the islands there and cleaned up her property there. And from there we went, and I went east, came back with Judy, and Ken, Judy, and Ariel and I had years of great times together, the 4 of us. So much so that Kenny and Judy and I bought a house in Santa Cruz together as partners. And it was from that house, when we finally bought him out, that he bought a place in Mexico called Casamar, with the money that we gave him in a fair value to that. One in working on that house with Ken Scott, we got this project. We were just in the end of scrounging, where we would get any wood or anything we could anywhere at any time, rather than paying for it, which I'm proud to say I do these days. But we took this truck from a guy named Danny, and we drove that truck. Judy and Ken borrowed Danny's truck, and we drove it to the city. We were scrounging all this great tongue and groove redwood out of a building, hard redwood, and which still to this day sits in my garage, never used.
But it was
And they came to the office that I had found to get this, and Judy was ashen-faced.
Oh.
She was just white and shaking. And, what happened? What happened? And she said, well, on Route 280, going about 65, Kenny said, hey, look at this. And he took the steering wheel off Danny's truck and held it in the air. And then he put it back on again.
Those tricks,
It's, those were the days when you did things like that. And what's really remarkable is that Judy got in the truck after we filled it way higher than was legal and drove it back to Palo Alto where we unloaded it. So from that time, we've stayed in touch. I never made it to Casamar, but we stayed in touch with Kenny, and I've talked to him in email, and he would come to the office. I now have 9 co-workers, and he would come in and ask for Mr. Woodstock Nation. And I kept that part of my world a little bit on the lower end, the professional side.
Oh, they know it.
But eventually people knew it couldn't be anybody else but me. And so Patsy's done that too, I think. So I wanted to close with that. A couple weeks ago, Kenny called me and said, I need a couple of laughs. You're always good for a couple of one-liners, and this is our last phone call, and I want to, talk about just how wonderful it has been laughing with you, and having you part of my life. And without really thinking about it, I just said, yeah, man, same thing here. And I'll tell you what, Kenny, I'll see you in the barn.
In the barn now.
And I was hanging up. He was laughing in a deep, only Kenny way that he could do that. So think about that barn, those of you who were there.
Oh, yeah.
And Kenny and I, 32 years
Yeah.
of great times and great fun. And Judy wishes she was here, and also I want to represent Ann Mason, too, who I'm in touch with, who wished she was here on that.
Okay, great.
That's what I have to say. I have to go home for reasons some of you know. I got to get back into the family.
I'll get up. I'd like to say something.
Donna Lee.
If I
So thank you all, and we'll see you later.
okay.
Bye, Bob.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm going to get a dessert.
What's our priorities
I'm not going to go out without getting
I remember Kenny would just say to me, "Hello, Donnelly," and that's it. That's what I want to say to Kenny.
Say it again, I didn't hear it.
Okay. Hello, Donnelly.
Yep.
I can hear it.
Yeah, that's all. So,
Well, along those lines.
yeah.
But with a little twist. Hi, I'm Tusa. And I might have met Kenny in 75-ish. But I have heard it said if you remember the 70s, you weren't really there. Kenny was an amazing. But the story I want to tell is about the most romantic moment in my entire life. Was with the man that became my husband, Robert Brady. Some of you might have met him today. It was the first time we had met. I was over at the land to see Patsy, and I was standing at the table, big window opened out on his porch, and our eyes met, and the rest was history. So at the end of the meal that he cooked for me, he said, well, wait here for a minute, will you? And he was gone about 15, 20 minutes, and he came back. And he said, take a walk with me. And there was this, behind the long hall, this bathtub filled with warm water. If you ever want to get a girl naked, put a tub full of warm water in a meadow. Trust me, it will work. And I think we were still in like the giggling stages, and Ken walks by. And he goes, yo, who's there? And Rob goes, hey, Ken. He goes, I might have known. Brady, of course it's you. And it was just kind of neat to share, to have him be a part of my most romantic moment.
Oh, wow.
Any takers?
I have one thing to say.
We have a follow-up comment.
which is not really, it's another logistic comment. I really rely on the DVD for everything, but I wanted to talk about this green ribbon. The green ribbon is in significance for brain cancer, and if you're interested in supporting the local Palo Alto organization called Future Brain at SaveYourBrain.org.
You gotta love that.
And they have a relay race, and they could use some resources. They were very volunteers. They can use a lot of stuff. I'm going on. They can use a lot of stuff. And obviously, so can I. Anyhow, SaveYourBrain.org, and I urge you to. They were fabulous for the whole year. Excuse me. They were. Whenever we needed advice, we could call Meredith Warshaw, and she would be there giving us advice through the whole time of the last moments. I was calling every day because you don't know, if you've never been through brain cancer, what's going on and what the timing is. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't even play one on TV. You know, and these people knew. And so I want to acknowledge that and invite you all to check out SaveYourBrain.org and help them out if you can. And then we'll get some. Danny.
This is a very sad but joyous feeling I have at the same time thinking about Ken. I came up to land when I was 15. I was just a young squirt, and they had a meeting about a week before about no new members. And although I could fend myself off, there was a whole lot of angry males up there that wanted me off. And Ken stood up for me. He says, he's my helper, leave him alone. You know, and he took me to do carpentry jobs, and he was a real patient brother figure to me. And no one messed with him. He was fairly large. And he said, you mess with him, you mess with me. And I'll never forget him for just being a real, helped me come on to the land and back everyone else off, and took me under his wing. It was wonderful. Goodbye, Ken. Take us.
So, it's hard for me to think of all the words to say. I've known Ken for over half my life, and I felt like he knew me when I was young and barely, you know, an adult. And he witnessed all the major things that happened to me. Marriages, births of my children. He was there for Lauren and Cameron to come into the world. And I feel very blessed to have maintained the friendship with him over all these years, and to have him woven into my family with Gil and Lauren and Cameron in these last months, and to just get to share a part of his stories, and up here and in Menlo Park, and even in Mexico. I went and visited him twice in Mexico, once with Kay Lemon, who was with you all and in spirit. She couldn't come today, she wanted to be here. And I bring with me just the good thoughts of a lot of other friends who are hoping to be here, Gordon Cruikshank and Linda Raffel and a few others who I was in touch with. So I just want to say that I'm very happy to be a part of a community that was woven for me with Ken and all of you and the new people who've come in and my husband Gil. And I just feel really blessed by Ken and by the network of people that's woven around him. And it's special to share this day with all of you.
Hi, I'm Philip Ross. So I was privileged to be with Ken toward the end of his life for a short period of time. And we talked a lot about just what he was going through and his experience, and for me it was just a tremendous privilege to be with somebody like himself who had sort of accepted his death and was able to deal with it with a tremendous amount of grace.
My name's Peter. Many of you don't know me. I came, relative to most of you, relatively late into Ken's life because I'm a little bit younger. Jeez, I think the first thing I want to say is I was envied Ken his hair all my life. That fucker had long hair even here. This was a few weeks ago. So one thing I've heard and many people say, and I just want to reiterate, is I think what made me really love Ken was that when you were talking to Ken, and if you knew that he got you, I knew he got me. And there aren't too many people that you know in your life who you know get you. And that's a precious thing. I was with Ken a lot in the last year. He lived with us for 6 months a year ago. He was the godfather to my children. I was at both of their births. And I don't know, he's going to be with me the rest of my life. I haven't cried since he died. But here it is, because I felt like I'd sort of been through that, go through the process with somebody dying. There are many moments of powerful grief, and funny times, and good times. It's an honor, really, to go through that process with somebody. That's all. I brought a different stick.
Oh. I'll play the talking stick.
Yeah, I've been proud to be a friend of Kenne's for a long time. When he looked like that, he looked like that. I never saw him look like that in that bathing suit, though.
And I'm glad.
He had a very kind and gentle voice and demeanor, and I was very inspired by the way he dealt with his impending end on this earth. And last time I saw him, 4 of us had lunch together, and he told us the fuck it story, and we were all yelling in the car, fuck it, fuck it! It was a special moment. I'd like to sing a song now called Fly Away Home. Say our goodbyes to the slow parade of faces we love, right in their eyes. Forever will shine in your heart and mine. We walk on through the world so changed. Take the love you gave wherever we roam. Now we let you go as you fly away home. Sound of their voice in the sky where fairy queens fly, they leave us with a choice. Celebrating their name, carry on just the same. We walk on through a world so changed. We take the love they gave wherever we roam. Now we let you go as you fly away home. Now we let you go as you fly away And also I'd like to sing the last verse of a song that meant a lot to Kenny and meant a lot to me. I can't claim I wrote the song. I told people that more like it wrote me. But so the song is for Kenny. The last verse of it, at least. This one. Oh, that one. Share love for a while, then drift away with a tear and a smile, and the love seems to stay, and there's no denying that it wants to grow. Be shared more like a on fire, glowing in the dark. It melts the frost. It's an open arm till the floods are crossed. Love is never lost. We learn and grow so slow, and we come to know that the circle never ends as each life bends.
we're in the circle here, we actually have a ring of fire that we're gonna do a little burn.
We decided
Yes.
not to pollute the earth with flowers and just use the ashes. We decided that the wrappings that held the essence of what was Ken, we could reburn, and that's what this is about. It's about letting Ken's essence, which more than a flower.
Querida, ven para acá.
Should go fairly easily. We all love birds so much.
Ken.
I've done a lot of studying in Central African tradition, and one of the ways that they break the circle in this kinds of intensely spiritual things, and we ask a lot of the universe, is to touch the ground and ask the energy of the earth to ascend. And you don't have to do that quietly either, because as painful as some of our memories are, they're actually beautiful and joyous. And whenever you've had time for your earth walk, to be in a barn or be in a therapist's office, or be at a graveside. It's a joy. And the way we do that is like really easy, but it's really great, and I think Kenny would like it. It's like, okay.
Can we all do this?
Bravo! Encore, Ken! Encore!
Okay, thanks.